Virgo, thank you so much for tuning in. This is your April 2022 soul story. If you've got a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this is a general reading, but the key astrological dates and intuitive messages will hopefully support you in navigating through the next few weeks. This is Romy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the reading. We're going to open up April's energy with the Five of Cups. Now, Aries season is the illumination of that 8th house energy, and it talks about that which is shared, which is always interesting because then we have the contrast of a very independent warrior of light energy from Aries that kind of pulls that desire to want to forge ahead and be a pioneer in your life. And so what I have a sense, and we talked last month for you, Virgo, about this unfinished business. And what I have a sense is it's now a bit of a cleanup operation that's happening in this early part of April. Now we've got a new moon coming in the sign of Aries at 11 degrees on the 1st of the month. It conjuncts with Chiron, the wounded healer planet, and with Mercury. What it means is that there's an opportunity this month for some deep healing and forgiveness to take place. And when we are wading through that grief, that sense of loss, something that we feel, is no longer a part of our life, and we might still be trying to reconcile or kind of come to terms with that. And for some of you that might have felt like it's happened in the very, very real present moment, and for others, this might be grief or something that you're still working through that has been with you for a very, very long time. But what we have is this kind of excavation that's taking place, and it's really allowing so much of the kind of crisis points to really emerge to the surface. And through that sort of cleanup of some of these unresolved issues, there's a deeper sense of self-knowledge and mastery, and that's the true gift. That's what I really want you to take away from that Five of Cups, because remember, she's holding on to the branch there, and there's still 2 flowers in bloom. So even though there is that which we still grieve over or we perceive as a loss in our life, there is this sense of being able to let go of the baggage, let go of the pain that's associated with that loss, and come to terms with something at a much deeper level. So if last month we had a lot of unresolved things, what I'm feeling for April is it's about a sense of acceptance and a real sort of conscious alignment for you. It's a readiness, I think, for Virgo to orientate towards something more for yourself. And remember that new moon, it's an interesting alignment. I mean, Chiron, Mercury and Pallas Athena all impacted by that energy of the new moon, all sitting in Aries. So it's almost like they're saying, before we get to move forward, we have to deal with something unresolved. We have to find forgiveness in it. And then we're able to express ourselves. Now, Mercury conjunct at that new moon. Here we have the Page of Swords. You're standing on top of all of these books. There's been wisdom. You've taken time to go away to understand something. Now, coming from the heart space, coming from your wish, your desire, there's a need to kind of graduate to the next level, if you like. He's got his graduation hat on there. Need to graduate to the next level in terms of your language, how you're speaking to yourself about the traumas that you've been through, what you've endured, and how you're relating to other people. Now, I think this month for Virgo, it's really going to be about taking a lot of risks. I feel like this is a month where we are observing whether we're amplifying the light or whether we're triggering the shadow. Now, either is okay, and both are, in fact, deeply necessary, but at least you need to know what you're working with. And in a way, never putting anything on the line, never risking anything is probably the biggest risk of all, right? So sometimes that comes in and it feels like it's deconstructing every part of what we know to be true. But if we go deeper into that sense of inner knowing and we allow ourselves to listen, because remember, the energy of the Queen of Cups is very passive. She's the empath. She sits and observes and absorbs the energy around her, reading the room, all of these tentacles coming out of her hair here, indicative of that. But she also knows how to self-soothe, how to soothe her soul, how to heal. And so as you come to a deeper understanding through this month about the areas in your life that you're prepared to put something on the line, that you're prepared to take a risk for yourself, that might not sound very reasonable. In fact, when you write it down, it may seem completely illogical. But in fact, sometimes the more absurd something looks or appears to you, the more you're meant to explore the magic that it holds. And that's important because this month we have Jupiter conjunct Neptune, which you're going to be feeling from the 8th to the 12th. And it's really, over the next few weeks, going to be permeating things. It's coming in at 23 degrees. The last time it happened was 1856. So it's one of these once-in-a-lifetime moments. And it helps us to find the sweetness, you know. It allows us to really align with a grander vision for ourselves. And you look so comfortable atop this hummingbird. There's something so exquisite and beautiful about the hummingbird, isn't it? The colours, the way that they move, the way that they dance with the energy of these beautiful spring flowers. And again, you're holding on to this branch and there's all of these other birds here. You're not alone. So what you are doing in terms of finding the sweetness, taking the risk, actually impacts and supports others. Now, the Six of Wands is also about declarations in public. It's about those announcements. It's about a sense of victory and success coming your way. And perhaps that's important to understand if you're dealing with something that has felt like a disappointment or you've been wading through that energy of loss in some regard. And your purpose path, you know what, Virgo, it's going to keep sending you invitations. So you can decide to decline them as much as you want for as long as you want, but that doesn't mean that they're going to go away, and that's okay too. So you meet the energy wherever you are, but you know that you are going to be encouraged through this course of April more than ever before to take the bravery and be that initiator, that pioneer. You know, it's cardinal energy with Aries season. So there's a drive to want to start something, to begin something. So we have Venus shifting into Pisces on the 5th of the month. We also have Mars going into Pisces on the 14th. And then Juno, the asteroid goddess, shifting into Pisces on the 20th. So here we can get a little bit carried away. You know, there's a deep sensitivity which is going to help with the compassion and the healing and the forgiveness that we need. But we also can at times look through rose-coloured glasses as to what we want. You know, we get romantic about the notions of things. Now, it's an interesting energy that I see overall for this month because I think we have this intensity, this passion, this drive and energy, momentum building. New astrological year, you know, fantastic time before the retrogrades kick back in to launch, to kind of make those bigger commitments and investments. But yet we also have this kind of drifting energy where we lose our focus and that slightly hazy, nebulous feeling kind of settles in and makes us kind of doubt ourselves, and so you can get a bit wayward. So that means, again, it's one of these months that's very non-linear in terms of its timing. Now, you've got the Empress coming in, but she understands timing. She really understands the cycles and the seasons, and she knows that something's coming into a state of bloom in your life at any given moment. But sometimes we can be orientated towards the things that are not. And so it can be very difficult to turn around and to actually see all that is good or all that is coming into that state of readiness for you to receive. So there's some lessons through the course of April to really be mindful at where you're choosing to spend an awful lot of your time in your mind during this month. Because that Page of Swords tells me that the language has to change now. Has to be more soulful, it has to be more mindful, it has to be more kind to the self. It has to come from a deeper intuitive place. And there's a feeling this month of this bigger divide happening, people coming and going, shifting in and out of your life in ways that might feel confusing or unsettling. But what it's really about is helping to return you back to your own natural energy field. You know, without the projection or the absorption of other people's stuff or what they think or what they feel. And I'm not saying that that is in any way negative all the times. For some of you, it may have felt that way. But what really happens then is we get to almost have like a default setting reinstated, which is sort of what the equinox kicked off for us. So Spirit know what they're doing. They're moving people around your pathway right now so that you can get clear about, what do I feel? What do I think? And she's gone right to the bottom of the ocean. Her clam is closed here. So it's almost like kind of closed for business. You know, there's something about, no, I need this boundary up here because I need to sit and listen. I need to tune into what's right for me, because that's where the success comes from. That's where the creativity, this fertile, rich energy that you get to tap into. Yeah, so the Empress comes as that mother archetypal energy that says you have to nourish that which you want to see grow in your life. So we have a full moon coming in the sign of Libra on the 16th of the month. It's making a square, so an uncomfortable energy with Pluto. So the desire again for that excavation to be taking place. Now remember, 8th house energy is not light. It's here to cleanse and purify. It, ruled by Scorpio, is about sex and death and regeneration. And it does draw up to the surface, things that we have disowned, or, those secrets we don't really want to deal with. And often it's that which is shared. So it's about, relationships with others, where our resources are inextricably bound with others. But what we find is that through the course of kind of receiving answers to questions that we haven't even asked, which is a big theme for this month, I'll be interested to see how that really plays out for each and every one of us, that we come to a place where we can find resolution. And then when you move into Taurus energy, into that 9th house, there's such a beautiful, powerful expansion that's taking place. You're reconnected to your higher mind at a new, clearer, purer way. Now the 7 of Wands says that there's challenges for you to take on this month, but it's okay, because again, like the 6 of Wands, it's a card of victory. It's a card of, against the odds, I'm going to do this as long as I'm coming from a place of love. One of the things I really talk about a lot during my mentorship sessions is what is fueling your energy right now. If you are fueled from a place of pain or anger or frustration or revenge, that's okay in the short term. Sometimes we draw on these things to kind of pull us up and out of a deep sense of grief energy. That's okay. But if you've been using those patterns for years, then this is a month where we have to have a change, because to be sustainable and to allow this energy to continue to keep showing up and to have more of a sense of permanence for you, so you get into a better receptive mode, then you're going to have to start fueling from a place of love, from a place of respect, from a place of value and inner worth for yourself. So I think you'll be called out this month by your guides, by your higher self, as to the areas that you're doing that and doing it really well, and where there's still room for improvement, or they want you to work at transmuting and coming into a sense of understanding about that. And that really is going to underpin this kind of improving the balance in your life, because as that full moon in Libra comes in, remember, it's about culmination and what we need to let go and release at that point, a cycle coming to an end, especially that was initiated back in Libra season last year, September. So this is a time now to say, okay, in order to move forward, I'm going to have to take a risk. To find more balance, I'm going to have to make some adjustments. I'm going to have to change the way that I'm coming at things, but I do have the strength to make this happen. In fact, incredible feats of strength as we actually see him bending the bars back, But it might be against the backdrop of some conflict. I think that Plutonian energy at the full moon, especially as Pluto's going to be shifting retrograde on the 29th. So, we always say that these moments when the planets station direct or take a backspin can be quite disruptive. And of course, we've got the eclipses. Yeah, we've got a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus coming in on the 30th, right at the end of the month. And we can feel that eclipse energy powerfully ahead of time. Now, you've got the 8 of Swords coming up, so there is a suggestion, there's a little stress that gets activated. Now, sitting beneath that 6 of Wands there, is it because of the public announcement of something, or the recognition that's finally come your way, or what it's taken to get to this point, or finding the sweetness and wondering, how do I keep it going? But there's certainly something here where you still feel a little bit caged in. You still don't feel quite fully free. You want to, you're doing the right things, you're making the investments. I feel like you're ready and prepared to take the risk. You're standing up on top of this platform, hand on heart, saying, this is what I want, this is who I am, this is what I need. And that is coming in favourably for you, but I think there's some legacy stuff here. That's that 8th house. It kind of catches us unaware. A lot of the shadow things that are coming up to kind of, give us a reminder, hey, there's some work still needs to get done over here. But if you remember, the kind of theme of this month is about this forgiveness. See where that needs to be applied if you're feeling that sense of stress coming in, okay? Your wings are free here. They're not being clipped. The cage door is open. So really this is what's going on within the mind. This is not somebody coming along and putting a big block in front of you and saying you cannot have this, Virgo, because actually you can. You're creating space in your life for what it is that you want to give birth to, what you want to allow in here. So as you look at this in terms of the relationships in your life, of what's happening for you, in family pathways, in the dynamic of your work and how you want to show up in the world, think about it in these terms. And again, taking risks can feel so uncomfortable. It can feel stressful. I don't want to leave my comfort zone. I've kind of become dependent on the security of these bars around me. Yeah, it's interesting that you've got the bars here and it's like you're not moving, you're accepting of them, but here you're like, no, I need to break free. So you might have a moment where all of a sudden it's fine, and then it's like, no, okay, I can't cope with this anymore. And that's the point of liberation. I actually think that's going to be quite an interesting moment for you, like a crossroads point that's going to come in and hit you at some area of your life, through the course of April, where it's just like, okay, no more. It has to change. It changes now, and it changes with me. And that's a powerful statement that I see you making. And at that point, it's when you almost get this feat of strength to kind of get over the line with something. Empress right at the centre of your reading is giving you a sense of empowerment, calling on that beautiful divine feminine energy, whether you're male or female. It's that part of yourself that can nourish and sustain and bring it to life through love. Five of Swords says you got to let go of these ghosts from the past. You keep kind of mending wounds, or you open up the scars over and over again. It's like that energy of disappointment, and it's like when I look at her dress here, it feels so constricted. It's like I can't breathe. It's right up around her throat chakra. And it looks very elegant and poised and held together. Even this is kind of held together, but I feel like you're only just holding it together, or someone else is only just holding it together. Yeah, but what we really want is this blossoming to come out and to be free. There's a need for you to liberate yourself somewhere this month. And that's what we need to kind of let go of that, because these energy of the fives come in our reading, and they're annoying, they're irritating, because they're saying, here's the pattern that you keep returning to. Here's the mirroring that keeps showing up. Here's the projection. Here's the place that your mind keeps taking you to. Every time you take a step forward and it says, no, you can't do that. That's not going to work. Here's the evidence, and here's the evidence, and here's the evidence. And it's just, after a while, so exhausting that you just, in areas of your life, can be okay. All right, it's not going to work. It's not for me. But this moment of just about to give up on something is actually the moment of breakthrough here. And I think that it's the Queen of Cups that's really your ally in this reading through the month, because her attunement on an emotional level is taking you to a place that you can really get some answers here and some understanding of sort of how to bridge that gap, if you like. That's important. The conscious alignment and a readiness really to allow more for yourself through this process of purification, I think, that's happening. Three of Swords is the extraction, yeah? So if we're having this excavation, we're bringing something up that's unresolved. This is Chiron, right? But it's going right to the heart, so there's nowhere to hide. But I like, this is good, Virgo, because when there's nowhere to hide, we actually address what finally is the thing, yeah? We talk about it, we express it, we deal with where it's come from, how it's impacting on our energy. Then we have the power and the wherewithal to take a risk and to do what's necessary to be able to move forward in whatever way that feels right, or you're being directed or aligned in that way. So yes, it can feel upsetting. Yes, it can feel a bit heartbreaking in some regard, but it's a reminder that, the future version of you, Virgo, already exists in you now. So as you're becoming that person and you're going through this process of uncomfortable change and expansion and kind of everything breaking down and deconstructing, so that you can allow for this, to start to come into its full fruition, then there is that break point that feels like I can never go back. And that I can never go back can feel heartbreaking in itself, even if you don't want to. It's kind of messed up, isn't it? But that's sometimes what happens. It's like, I don't want that. I don't want to be that person anymore. This new person already exists within me. It's calling me so much forward. And this is what it's going to take. But remember, 9th house energy into Taurus season, this is a whole new philosophy and outlook. This is your spiritual values being elevated. This is you seeing out on the horizon what's up and coming for yourself. It's making sense of what you've just been through in the purge. Yeah, that Virgo full moon was a deep purge for all of us. You more than most. You'll have been affected by that deeply in that reset energy of the equinox just after. So this is the cleanup, and this is the making sense, this is putting into order, and this is meaning that we have to deal with whatever that is. But it feels short and sharp, because you're not supposed to be wading through that sense of loss for long. Okay, so let's have a look and see how these oracle cards want to join the conversation for you. Just a quick heads up, I mentioned last month my new oracle deck is coming out. Depending on when you're watching this, it'll either already be live on Kickstarter, or you can still sign up on the email list. So check out the description box underneath and you'll get some details. I'm also going to give you a quick preview in the extended version. Okay, so your oracle card is abracadabra. Okay, I like her elevated position here. She's touching the stars, you know, it's quite extraordinary. All of these buildings are reaching. It's like the reach. This is what I mean. You have to take the risk. But there's also something about this Jupiter conjunct Neptune. It aligns us to the magic. I can't remember which soul story I talked this to, said this, but it feels relevant for you as well. It kind of, what is your relationship to that word magic? You know, do you feel jaded by it now? Is it something that you think is disingenuous, or are you so open to the serendipitous, unseen realm that can deliver these amazing signposts and put you in the right place at the right time with the right person? It's like you have to bring a little bit of that magic and sparkle back in. It's going to be facilitated by that Jupiter and Neptune alignment in Pisces. Yeah, there's something about this. It's basically written in the stars, something that's happening for you, unfolding for you. But like I said, it involves you having to take a risk. Yeah. You have to try, you have to believe, you have to look at something and say, the more absurd it sounds to me when I say this, the more I'm meant to do it. Astrology card, let's have a look for you. Opposition, imbalance, a point of tension and a power struggle. Well, we have these moments of conflict coming through the month. Overall, actually, April has more sweet alignments astrologically, so that's going to work in your favour. But certainly with that Seven of Wands, there is something that's feeling like it's creating that push-pull energy. The power struggle is something that you got to release because it's coming from a place of ego, I feel. And it is causing an imbalance within you. So again, I think our Queen of Cups and our Empress, because both of these amazing feminine energies are speaking the same language in as much that they listen and they are receptive and open and they are patient and they can wait and they can allow for things to move in the right order because they're so sure of themselves, of who they are, what their natural essence is. So you don't need to fight against anyone or have that struggle with anyone else. And if you're having it with yourself, then again, that's something that we're going through with this cleanup, as the cleansing and the purifying of whatever gets drawn to the surface is allowed to be cathartically dissipated and transmuted. Okay, so this deck is the Blind Spot Oracle. I used these back in January. It's a really powerful deck to kind of basically does what it says on the tin. It shows you what your blind spot is. So I'm going to pull you a card, but we're going to cover this off in the extended reading. If you're new to the channel, extended reading, you can find the link in the description box underneath, and we talk for another 20 minutes on this main reading, give you some deeper insights. We're also going to focus on a personal question for you, so have a think about what that might be right now, Virgo. And I will pull you a couple of cards. Right, so just going to clarify this main spread, beginning with the Five of Cups. What else do we want to know about that? King of Wands, fire energy, Sagittarius, Leo. the Well. This is an additional bonus card in this particular tarot deck. Page of Wands. Okay, so we have the card of Strength coming through there, and the Hierophant. Deep learning there. There's your death and rebirth energy coming in. Eight of Cups, Six of Pentacles, Knight of Wands. Okay, Six of Wands coming in with another Queen of Cups. See, that's the route to success. The empathy, the compassion, the healing, the tolerance, the forgiveness. It's like, if that's not addressed and not welcomed and embraced, it's going to come back around to be dealt with, you know, and sometimes it can feel hard to forgive ourselves or others for things where we carry deep wounds, but this is about your growth. King of Cups, Three of Pentacles. Got a little stress being activated this month, but there's so much to feel really positive about at the same time. I think it is just kind of the letting go part, you know, there might be a struggle to actually let go. Okay, going to leave it there, Virgo. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're joining me for the extended, you can find the link in the description box underneath. Otherwise, I wish you beautiful blessings this month. Be sure to check back in, see how this resonates, and you can support me by liking the video, dropping me a comment, subscribing to the channel, sharing this video, and thank you for showing up. You take care.